Hi everyone. In the previous video, we created our Hello World API. Went ahead and we created an endpoint for this API. We connected to a function. We added a route parameter. We even tested this API in Postman, and everything worked. So we brushed, up on the concept in the previous video that we want to expand on. That I would like to expand on in this video. It's the whole concept of public versus private APIs. So by default, all APIs are not exposed to the public. They're private APIs. As you can see, I just toggled this API. So it's no longer public. If I were to, let's say, deploy this to a development environment, and I go back and I were to ping the same API, I get an error message that says, hey, you're not authorized. This is a private API. All right. So now you have the option to have your APIs be public or private. Now, there are a bunch of security measures that can be implemented to secure APIs. You can outright just block it to the public. And in this case, there are two ways to access your API. The first way is with system users. So system users are basically just um, API users, like machine users. These are users that can have all the roles and all the permissions of an actual, person, like an actual account holder, but these users are not account holders. There's no license to these users. Uh, so this makes it easy to create, let's say API keys, right? Uh, that can be used to access APIs that are private. So obviously, if you wanted to go with the system user approach, all you would need to do is create a new user by simply just giving the user a name, or go to an existing system user, click on the Manage tab button, and basically just add the API to the list of APIs that the user or the system user has access to. And all you need to do here after this is just to click on Edit. Now, in this case, our system user Paul has access to our endpoint. So now what we need to do is just get the API key. We have every single API, every single resource, be it web apps, APIs, automations, databases, you name it. They all exist in three environments. In this case, I'm testing out in the development environment. So I'm going to grab my development API keys for my system user. I'm going to go back to Postman. Again, this API is private, so I'm not authorized. But if I were to go to the header and enter the header X API key and paste in that API key and ping this API, I get the response, hello Sam. All right, so now this API, I have access. A second way to get access to an API is through a subscription. So in this case, a user will have to be a subscription service will have to be created for this API, and then actual users will then subscribe to this subscription services. Now each user that subscribes will get themselves an API key, and they can use this API key to get access to the API endpoint the same way the system user uses the API keys to get access, right? But we're gonna dive into subscription services in a separate video. You can jump into that video and you can see for yourself how we actually connect APIs. It's actually very simple. This way, there are so many use cases for subscription services, such as monetizing, or granting individual access. That way, you know exactly who is accessing a resource at any time, and so on and so forth. Now, we've basically gone over this very simple concept of public versus private APIs. Now, there's a separate concept here of policies. So an API could be public or it could be private, but you know that's not where it ends. You might want to add extra rules to safeguard your APIs. You might want to protect APIs based on geolocation and a host of other things. We're going to come back in a separate video and dive into that concept. But to recap what we've learned today, we know that APIs can be public or private. We know that when it's exposed to the public, anyone can have access to it. We know that when it's private, we can grant access using system users and using subscription service. System users are like regular users, only that these users do not have a license to the Inhouz Cloud account. Their sole purpose is to hold API keys that can access resources like APIs. We know subscription services are used to grant access to individuals, actual human beings, right? Who will get an API key that is individualized to each user. All right. So we're going to come back in the next video and we're going to talk about policies and how we could further secure APIs using policies.